Ba, 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 boom, 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 boom. I am super excited about today's video because this could be the next great speaker company. Yay! Look at how pretty it is. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about these brand new passive home speakers from a company that has a bit of an audio history. Today's video is an initial impressions. Why? Because I haven't had this speaker very long. But when I started listening to them, I knew, I had to make a video because these things are awesome. Look how pretty they are. Look at this wooden thing on the side. It goes whoosh. It's like a swoosh. Look at the front. It's two-tone. Covering up the logo with my thumb. You may have heard of this company because they've been around for a while, but it hasn't been in home audio. It's been in car audio, and it is Morel. These are handmade in Israel. And when I was at Expona, which is an audio show in Chicago, this was the company that I was the most blown away with because they had speakers that weren't terribly expensive. These are the Avyra 622s. They also have a floor standing version of this speaker. The floor standing version of the speaker comes in at $2,000 a pair, thereabouts. This one, the 622, the bookshelf comes in at $1,200 a pair, which isn't too shabby. And I had to ask them multiple times when I was in Chicago. I go, is that per pair? Per speaker? Because $2,500 still isn't outside the realm of possibilities. But they said, I just bit my tongue. But they said no, it's for a pair. 6-inch woofer, 1.1 inch soft dome tweeter. Listen to it. Oh yeah. Port on the back, nice binding posts. Let's talk about some specifications. All right, two-way MDF enclosure, 6-inch woofer with integrated one-piece cone, double magnet motor, not a single, double. 3-inch EVC, which is trademarked external voice coil, aluminum voice coil with a titanium bobbin. On a sewing machine. Tweeters, 1.1 inch 28 millimeter AccuFlex, also trademarked, handcrafted soft dome aluminum voice coil. Frequency response this is plus 2 dB minus 3 dB. Okay, so that's good. It's not plus or minus 6, plus 2 minus 3. 35 hertz up to 20,000 hertz, 4 ohm nominal impedance, sensitivity of 88 dB. So even though this thing drops bombs, it's actually fairly sensitive for a bookshelf speaker of this size. Crossed over at 2,200 hertz. 9.5 inches wide, 14.2 inches tall, and 10.6 inches deep. Weighs 8 kilograms. Hold on. How many pounds is 8 kilograms? 17.6 pounds.
Back in that bag again. Whoa, yeah. Hey. Back in that, yeah. Tell them to watch it. Now I ain't talking my pockets, just know we ain't running.
If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I know 60% of you watching aren't subscribed. Donate your subscription today. You can always take it back. It may be tax deductible. I don't know. You might want to consult your tax professional. Thank you so much for watching. I had these in the living room and I've been listening for a couple of days. The first system that I hooked up to it is the all-new Kara. It's the one with the fork beard technology. That was hooked into a Wotan. It's a very powerful, very beefy power amp. Feeding that, I had the Ween Ultra digital out via optical going into the new Gishelli Labs J3 with the AKM 44 99 chipset. Sounded great, very mid-range Ford system, so dialogue was just immaculately clean. Like it went in and it took a long shower, loofah'd, scrubbed, exfoliated. The mid-range was exfoliated. Felt all warm and glowy afterwards. Then I wanted to see how the Morel Avyra's 622s would sound on the Unico Primo, because that's one of my favorite integrated amplifiers. Very robust, very punchy, has a tube so you get this three-dimensional sound. And for me, that's where the real magic combination happened. Now, it sounded great on a stack, but it sounded transcendent on the Unico Primo. Still using the Weem Ultra, still using the Gishelli Labs J3, going right in to the Unico Primo with one of its analog inputs. Competition-wise, for around $1,200, it's coming in against speakers like the Wharfedale Evo 4.2. It's coming in against the SVS Ultra, the new Ultra Evolution. Competing with something like the Sonus Faber Lumina 2 Amateurs, $1,500, so it's a little bit more expensive. The ELAC Unify Reference 2.0 coming in around $1,200. Even the KEF LS50 coming in around well, I don't know what the KEF sells for. I think $1,600 MSRP, but I think it's on sale for $1,000 right now. So plenty of other speakers to fight it out with. And that would actually be a really fun Saturday speaker shootout. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those other speakers. I guess I do have the SVS Ultra Evolution here. We could put those two up against each other. But not only from a design standpoint, but also a sonic standpoint, the Avyra's, I don't know why I rolled my R. The Avyra's 622s remind me so much of the Opera Primos, which are coming in at $2,500. Very interesting. As soon as I hooked them up, the thing that jumped off the page at me was cleanliness, top end extension. Has a soft dome tweeter, and a lot of soft dome tweeters, depending upon how it's voiced, can sound a little bit rolled off on top. Some of them do a pretty good job. The Avyra's was pulling off air and detail and sparkle that I often don't hear from a soft dome. Hello by Adele. So my wife and I were putting together this shoe rack thing, one of the Christmas presents. Came in a flat pack though. Terrible quality, but it looks okay from like 3 feet away. Anyway, we put the kids' shoes in it. It took us a good hour and a half to put that together, and the whole time I had the Avyra's running. We were listening to my test track playlist, and she actually said to me, "Wow, this is a really good playlist." I go, "That's my test track playlist." And she's like, "What are test tracks?" And I said, "It's YouTube stuff, YouTube homework stuff." Hello by Adele, though, she's got a very haunting voice, and you want a speaker to be pretty neutral with her voice, but you also want it to have a lot of air, because one of the magical things about that track is to hear the subtle nuances of her voice when she's inhaling, exhaling, and then hitting all those different notes. Anyway, I was pleasantly surprised, and that's why I'm making this video so early, because I was just so impressed. There Will Be Time by Mumford & Sons. Another great track from a vocal standpoint, but also very dynamic. So that thing starts off soft, it goes loud, it comes back soft. And a song like that fakes you into really turning up the volume, and then it can get really intense very quickly. There's a point in that song where there's some kind of like snare drum, and the snappy nature of that part of the song jarred me, but it was never too much. What I really loved about this speaker is the mid-range clarity. I never felt like they were coloring the mid-range tonality. If anything, it may lean just a bit cool, because on Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC, the first guitar riff that comes in out of the right speaker, it's got to be crunchy, it's got to be edgy, but it's also got to be a little bit weighty. Avyra's handled it perfectly. Out of the park. That's me hitting a baseball home run. Out of the park. Movies. I allowed myself to watch a couple of movies yesterday. It was a lot of fun. That is my Christmas break, watching a couple of movies. I rewatched Independence Day.
We will not go quietly into the night.
The wonderful 1996 sci-fi / disaster movie. Man, that is a really good movie. I forgot just how good it is. Makes you laugh, makes you cry, a lot of stakes. Guess what? I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but the humans make it out. They go ahead and they fight off the alien invasion. A lot of people die, a lot of destruction, but they make it through. So obviously I'm watching this just in 2 channel. But when the alien ships start to fly around, when the energy cannons, when the energy weapons start to shoot at each other, it gets real loud, real quick. I was running this with and without a sub. So I had the SVS SB1000 Pro going at times, but I also had the Avyras running without a sub with no crossover just to see how well they did. Reminds me a bit of the ELAC Debut 3.0 with how much bass it can put out. And I was very relieved to know that the Avyras can handle just about as much bass as the Debut 3s. I think the Debut 3s give you a little bit more bass punch, and this is a bookshelf speaker coming in at $450. I almost said 450 degrees, $450. Not quite as big of a punch as the ELAC Debut 3s, but way, way better clarity throughout the mid-range and upper bass. So much fun. So what are my final thoughts on this initial impression video? I think Morel is just swinging for the fences on, I don't know if this is their first home audio speaker line, but it's very impressive. I was impressed at Expona, but when you're at a hi-fi show, you never quite know what those speakers are going to sound like in your room, on your electronics, with your music. And I'm here to say that I was not disappointed. If anything, I feel like they sound better than they did at the hi-fi show. They're stylish, they're well put together, they sound spectacular. They're very unique design, and they also have a pair of matching stands. I didn't set those up quite yet. I will for the full video when I compare it directly to different speakers. But the design process around this speaker is very impressive, because it's visually striking. It's not like anything else except really high-end speakers. And if anything, it still kind of differentiates itself from just a speaker that has maybe real wood sides or something like that. It's very modern, but yet it's got a traditional vibe with the wood. And you can get this in a few different wood colors. Black, oak, I think walnut, and something else. I reached out to Morel to find out how you get these speakers. I think right now, maybe the only way that you can get them is directly through their website. These are also handmade in Israel. So these are not made in China. They're made in Israel, which is also a really impressive thing at the price point. So $1,200 is a lot, but I think you're getting a ton of speaker here for $1,200. And you're getting a speaker that I think most people are going to like. There could be a little bit of edge at times on the top end and upper mid-range, around 1,000 to 2,000 hertz. But with placement and toe in or toe out, you can kind of tame that treble down if you want to. For guys like me, I kind of get a kick out of that because it's not too much, it's not too forward. It just walks the line, goes right up to the edge of that cliff, and then pulls itself back right before it gets to be too much. I think this is a brilliant speaker. If I had this speaker a month ago, it probably would have been Speaker of the Year. And if you want to watch that video, I will link it right here. Also link the best amplifier 2024 right here. So go check out the Morel Avyra 622s. And don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.